I talked to Kara yesterday. I was taking a walk around 5. I met a new friend last night, a friend of a friend, this girl Malia. We went to Tallahassee food trucks last night, hung out with her for hours.
I'm Leslie B, justice seeker, story keeper, and we're still watching, waiting for justice.
Hello, Prof Jo.
Hello, Leslie B.
So good to see you again. We got to hang out in Vegas. That was
We
fun.
did. Let me say before we start, I love your opening. I love the graphics. I love the music.
Oh.
You are just a creative genius.
Well, thank you. It's fun to play with AI music. John Smith taught me that.
Well, I would find it fun if I knew an iota of what you know about doing it. I would just give myself a raging headache.
Yeah, I really just kind of taught myself. I thought, you know what? There's people that know how to do this, and you can find out everything on YouTube. Even if I'm at work and struggling on a spreadsheet, I'll just type it in YouTube and I'll get a tutorial. But good to see people in the chat. And I'm not really sure how it works. I guess I thought like you see your chat and I see mine, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I'm not seeing any chat at all right now, so I probably didn't put it up. But
okay. All right. Hey there. Is it Biana? Am I saying that right? Happy you're here. Thank you. And yes, Prof Jo is the best guest. Hey, Beth Nancy. Welcome to the food truck gang. Oh, I want to show y'all tonight what I'm wearing. My game changer shirt.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, because we're all game changers. That's what we are. I wore it at CrimeCon. You probably, I think it was the day I had the denim jacket and the scarf on. Yeah. Pam and Rosie. It's good to see y'all. Hey, Kathy, welcome. There's a lot of y'all here, so I'm excited. I don't know who's seen this little interview I got with Vinnie at CrimeCon, but I was all excited to tell Prof Jo about it. And I wish I could have recorded more because we talked for like 8 minutes and somebody from Court TV was filming it, but they haven't posted it. So I don't know, but why don't I pull that and share it? All right. So this was on, what was CrimeCon? Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah. So based on my outfit, this was Saturday. And I don't like to go to the meet and greets. Did you go to any of those?
No, I did not.
I mean, that's just not really for me to stand in line. I did, but it was kind of just by happenstance that I went. But I don't like it because you can't use your phone and all that. So I didn't think I would see Vinnie this time. I did see him last year. And I was in the exhibit hall with the creators. And I just walked over to the Court TV table. And there he was. So he had
you whipped out your phone.
I sure did. So I started talking to him. And then I was like, oh, I need to be recording this on my phone. So I missed like the first few minutes. But he had just done that show on Wendy. Is she next? That was on Memorial Day, which was my birthday. Felt like a really good gift. And I asked him, I said, was that new or old? I figured it was old. And he's like, no, it's brand new. So I thought that was interesting. So I thought we could play it and then we can ask our expert, Prof Jo here. So let's play this. Let's see.
Who am I talking to?
This is Leslie B, my little YouTube channel. It's not quite Vinnie, but yeah, game changer right here.
Game changer. I would just keep my eye on what's happening down in Tallahassee.
So do you think it'll be Georgia Kappelman?
Oh yeah. I think I think there's
He makes it up as he goes along. Okay, trust me, I know.
No. I'm wondering if she's worried a little bit about appeals, etc.
With Charlie?
With Charlie, to see where that goes, because you still want to be able to retain Wendy as the witness. If there has to be, God forbid, a retrial.
Because if she's arrested, she
Then that's
can't.
gonna be- you're done.
Okay.
You're
So
done.
what would you think about John Lauro sending me a cease and desist?
Whoa.
What's Wendy scared of?
I don't think she's scared. Well, I don't know how people feel, because this happened so many years ago. Do you ever get comfortable? And she knows that the prosecutor's taking her time.
Yeah.
And she's now in no rush, and there's no statute of limitations.
Right.
So it could happen. It may never happen, but it could happen at any moment.
Well,
maybe that's part of the I don't know. This prosecution's been different than most.
Right.
Usually everyone gets arrested, everyone gets charged, you try them all at once. They've been much more methodical and patient with it.
At least go for conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, the key is, if you got it in front of a jury, I think the jury would be receptive to the arguments, but you got to get it past the judge.
I gotcha. Well, in the words of Donna, never, never, never give up. That's what she told Wendy. See, right here.
She's wearing all of this Adelson swag. It's amazing.
Be a game changer.
Oh, that was good. So yeah, I've got my game changer shirt on. So there's two things to talk about there. But first, I want to hear your thoughts on what he said about the appeal and Wendy.
Yeah, I think it is certainly true that as long as the prosecution thinks they may need her as a witness in a trial, they are not going to want to prosecute her. But that said, I have heard many lawyers from the get-go saying that the cases, at least against Magbanoa and Sigfrida Garcia, Charlie and Donna, really didn't need Wendy's testimony, that there was enough other evidence to get there. She was the one that sort of provided the golden thread through it, but that they could have gotten successful prosecutions without.
Oh, interesting. Because I always just thought they had to have Wendy to introduce the emails that showed all the motive.
Yeah. Well, I just have heard, as I say, to the extent the defendant was on the other end of the emails, that would be admissible anyway, because it would be a statement against interest by a party. But I do think that her testimony made it easier for the prosecution. And in addition, when you're doing a criminal prosecution, you want to be pretty sure, because you can't do it again. There are no do-overs. If there's an acquittal, there's a double jeopardy bar to ever doing it again. So I think on balance, they decided they needed her testimony. All that said, if it's really true, if Vinnie is correct that they're going to wait out the appeals, then it's not going to be just the appeals, because Charlie has that claim sitting there about Daniel Rashbaum's conflict of interest that impacted Charlie's right to a fair trial.
Right.
He couldn't raise that on direct appeal, because on direct appeal, you're limited to the four squares of what the trial was and what the elements were going to the case for conviction. So the ineffective assistance of counsel claim, which is what that will be, comes in on what's known as a collateral attack. It's the conviction is over, the appeals are over. Now you start back at a trial level and you attack the conviction. It's a civil matter, actually. So you attack the conviction saying my constitutional rights were violated. And generally, the one that you raise is ineffective assistance of counsel, because that rolls in everything else. If your lawyer didn't meet the minimum standard for a Sixth Amendment representation, then nothing that happened, we can't have confidence about anything that happened. Once you start with that process, you start in state court. You go up through this is typically what happens. You start in state court. You go through the state appeal process. If you lose, then you go into federal court and start all over again on what's called a federal habeas corpus petition.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing. So if we're waiting to be sure that Charlie will never get a new trial, that's a much longer wait than the appeal decision, which should be coming, maybe in the next 3 months, 6 months, certainly in the next year. It's a much longer wait.
Right. So, I mean, it could be 5, 6 years, right? I mean,
it could at least be 3, 4, and it certainly could go to 5, 6. Yeah. So it's very depressing, I would say.
Yeah, because
that's all if we're waiting for all of that.
So I would expect this next appeal to be denied. Is that your expectation?
Yes.
And then the Rashbaum appeal, though, I think could have merit. Do you?
Well, it certainly has more merit than anything he's raised in the direct appeal. I think there's a fairly good argument that he waived it, because although I haven't seen much about it, I did a video quite a while ago where I talked about there was a hearing at which I'm blanking on the name of the lawyer, but she was the lawyer DeCalso. I'm not sure I'm getting it quite right.
Maricel Descalzo.
That's right. She was representing Harvey and Donna. And if you recall, what happened was there was this kerfluffle about whether they were going to testify. Yeah. And as that hearing developed, what appeared to be true was Daniel Rashbaum never, at least this is what he said at the hearing, and this is before the conflict issue came up, he never intended to call them. But when Georgia put them on her witness list, he thought she was trying to do an end around because she could depose them. And by deposing them, find out what his secret, defense was going to be. And that was the double extortion thing that he thought was such a winner.
Puzzle pieces.
And so then he added them to his witness list, but never intended to call them. And once they worked out that Georgia had them on the witness list, not as an effort to, try to end run the defense, they both agreed that neither would call them.
Right.
So,
I remember that.
Okay. So, but what happened was Charlie signed off on a number of things there about, the defense and the fact that he recognized all of this. So his claim that his defense was affected because of the conflict of interest, there's I think a really strong argument that he signed off on that at that point. Because the argument was, part of the argument was, gee, Rashbaum never called Donna, never called Harvey, and it's because he knew he was going to be representing Donna the next time, and he didn't want her to testify to something that would hurt her defense. But Charlie signed off on all that.
I mean, not that I'm on Charlie's side, right? Just to play devil's advocate. I mean, couldn't he argue like duress or whatever? Because you had Donna calling all the shots. I mean, when I did that FOIA request, all these emails were in there, and Donna is emailing Rashbaum during the trial, like telling him what to do.
Well, he can certainly make that argument, but the question is going to be whether it affected Daniel Rashbaum at all in terms of the defense. So it's there, but the strong one is you can point to things that it affected that Daniel Rashbaum didn't do. And the really strong one, the evidence there is that he was going to call Donna and Harvey, and then he didn't do it. And so then the next step is, and he didn't call them because he didn't want to injure Donna's case, and he knew he was going to be defending Donna next. But that little session at that hearing, I think may well take that one out. And then what you have left is going to be more, I guess I would call it run-of-the-mill claims that your lawyer didn't do a good enough job. And those typically don't prevail.
But like when I watched Dan, cross-examine Wendy, I mean, it's like he's her attorney. Like he was representing Wendy and Donna, it seemed like, more in Charlie's trial, in my opinion. Y'all tell me what you think.
Yeah, I don't know that he would say he was representing Wendy. If there's a case to be made, it's Donna, because he claimed he saw her almost as a second mother, I think, which is another good reason why you shouldn't ever even contemplate representing her. You should never represent a family member because you're much too emotionally involved.
Right.
The cross-examination of Wendy is another kind of, you can see me doing this because she had immunity. And anything she
for
said
the
on the
state, though,
stand
not for the
protected
defense.
her.
But she didn't have it for the defense, did she? Only
No, but if they asked her something,
Oh,
either she would say, I've got a Fifth Amendment privilege, and the judge typically takes care of that ahead of time because it's seen to be prejudicial to the defense if you've got a witness who starts taking the Fifth. So they're going to be, if the issue came up at all, and it did come up in Magbano's trial, because the defense did want to ask Katie some questions, and the judge said you can't because it affects her Fifth Amendment privilege here. She's testifying, but you just can't go into these areas. And I'm not quite, now that I've said that, I don't quite know why it came up, because she was testifying voluntarily. But, oh no, it wasn't, I'm sorry. He wanted to go into Wendy.
yeah.
And the judge said you can't do it because she's got a Fifth Amendment privilege. And so he wasn't allowed to do it there. That same limitation came up in Charlie's trial because Rashbaum, I think, did make the argument, and the judge in Charlie's trial said, well, it was already decided in Magbano's trial, and, it's the same issue.
Right.
And so that limitation as to what he was doing in the representation or what he didn't do, it may be that Charlie can make an argument that it was affected by Daniel's notion that he was going to represent Donna in the next trial. But it's also pretty clear that he couldn't go into some areas because of her privilege. And so, I guess the best you could say about it is if Charlie wants to make all these claims, there's going to be one,
Right.
let me say, one heck of a hearing trying to go into and sort of, pull apart the threads as to what was privilege and what he didn't do. And then when you get into what he didn't do, there's a wide range of what a lawyer is allowed to do as a tactical matter in terms of what you do with a witness or how you make decisions at trial.
I just wonder, with all the attention on it, I mean, like the Alex Murdaugh, as much as I hate it, like I think it was the right decision. So you do just wonder if they're going to just take their time with this one a little more, because everybody's watching the whole Adelson saga.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my view, and I've said it before, is I think there's enough evidence, admissible evidence, because what you hear a lot of people talk about is evidence that could never get into the case against Wendy, particularly if she doesn't take the stand. And I think it'll be a cold day in Hawaii before she gets on the stand, or cold day in hell, I guess, before she gets on the stand. So there's a lot of evidence that would go to show her complicity and certainly her awareness that something was going on that the jury is never going to hear, that we know about, that they will never hear. So I looked at the evidence that I thought there was a reasonable likelihood would get into the case. And I thought there's still enough. The jury has got to, read the inferences from the evidence in a way towards guilt. But I think there's a clear path to do it. Some lawyers think not. I think yes. And I think if a prosecutor has the view that there is enough to convict beyond a reasonable doubt, and also has a sincere view that this person committed the crime, I think particularly when it's a serious crime, they've got an obligation to go forward.
I agree.
And what's happening here, Leslie, is the longer you wait, some of the witnesses are not going to be around.
Right.
Some of them are retired. I mean,
or dead.
Yeah, or dead. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Skier is asking a good question. If when Wendy were arrested, couldn't Georgia use some of the videotape footage testimony, or how is it handled when witnesses aren't available anymore?
The jury can get in the interview that Ice Bomb. Ice Bomb, is it? I'm so bad
Oh,
with names.
Isom.
Isom, that's right.
You're
Did
combining
with,
Isom and
yeah,
Rathbone, but
yeah,
that's cute.
right.
Isom.
Did with her before the trial. But the jury, the prosecution cannot use anything she said on the stand because that's what the immunity covers. They can't use anything that used on the stand because it's covered by immunity. And were they to have found something because of what she said on the stand, they couldn't use that either. So that's all out. There's enough of the other evidence, I think, to get there, but you can't use anything she testified to.
Okay. New York Patriot Lady asked, what were the 2 violations during Donna's trial Judge Everett called Donna's defense out on? I don't even know.
I'm trying to think what that would refer to. I know that Judge Everett was at the end very displeased with Daniel Rashbaum, and I think he may have filed an ethics complaint. He certainly, in the opinion he wrote, suggested that he was going to file a complaint. And part of that was Rashbaum going forward without having a clear waiver from Donna and from Charlie. Probably had a clear waiver from Donna, but he didn't get the waiver from Charlie in writing signed, and it wasn't done in open court.
Right. But even if he had that waiver, I mean, Charlie could have canceled it right the second he was going to be on the stand, right?
Exactly. Which is why I think that he should never have been able to represent Charlie and say he was going to represent Donna. It was wild from the get-go. I think every lawyer you heard talk about it saying maybe it's not a violation of professional responsibility, but these are my words now, it's stupid. And it was. And the judge, somebody should have inquired about it more at the time. The judge was very good at making sure Donna waived, but everybody forgot that you had to be very sure that Charlie waived because there were 2 parties to this.
Right. No, it's a great point. Thank you, Fletcher. Boy, he says, from the beginning, Rashbaum seemed shady to me. Yeah. And he'd never done a murder trial. Like, that's not his specialty.
Yeah. He did white collar crime. And I don't know that I'd say shady. I think he maybe was too confident because he never even had an effective, really a co-equal lawyer sitting with him on counsel table on a major criminal trial. It's just extraordinary that he didn't have somebody there where he could divide the work. He did it all himself. He had that lawyer sitting there, but she did virtually nothing. She was like a legal assistant.
I bet Charlie wishes he had hired David Marcus, and I had heard, and I don't know if it's true, that he didn't hire him. Now, I don't know, David Marcus might have been like, no way, I don't want this, because it was going to be too expensive. I don't know if that's true, but.
Well, if that was his decision, I mean, boy, when the rest of your life and freedom is on the line, it seems to me to be a very odd balancing to say this is going to cost too much. I'm going to take the bargain basement. You're going to go to Filene's basement rather than go to Saks Fifth Avenue. It's unbelievable.
Right. You're going to pull out all the stops, which
I
did
would
make me wonder. Aaron Spencer, did they have like a big defense attorney fund for him? Do you know the guy in Arkansas that just
I know that is it Defense Diaries? They did a show which was essentially a GoFundMe, and they raised some money for him. So I don't know whether they had anything else, and they probably incurred some fairly substantial legal fees. But I will say the 2 lawyers there, Aaron Casanelli and Michael, I'm not going to get his last name, did a terrific job. I mean, it was really heartwarming to see lawyers, at the highest level of skill. They winded a path through getting the subpoena, the close the courtroom, and all documents are going to be sealed at the Supreme Court. Got that done. They effectively got that first judge off the case because some of her rulings seemed so one-sided. And then They got it dismissed, and they did a really superb job of marshaling all the evidence, saying this case can't go forward. It was, we see a lot of these trials, Leslie, where I look at it and I say, I don't know why the lawyers are doing this. It doesn't seem to be going anywhere. What do they think the jury is thinking? These two lawyers, just make you feel really, really good about lawyers operating, at the top of their skill level. And if anybody wants to see that, they did a couple of motions at the end that were just really terrific.
Oh, well, I'll have to watch some of that. I will say 2026 has been unbelievable with everything, with Corey Richins and Aaron Spencer and everything else. Oh, Julia Lucas says, exactly, Prof Jo. I said this a few weeks ago. The prosecutors really didn't need Wendy.
Yeah, and I think that's true, Julia. But let me say again, when you're doing the case and you've got one shot, it's difficult not to bring in all the evidence. And I know I didn't do a lot of trials, but I know when I did appeals, I would look at a record and something would be reversed because of evidence that got in. And I would read the cold record and say, why did the prosecutor do this? There was so much other evidence. Then when I did trials, I understood why the prosecutor does it. Because when you're looking at your case, the amount of evidence never seems enough. You always say, gee, I better get more. I better get more.
Well, we've been doing on my channel, we've been doing a book club on The Unveiling, the Ruth Markel book. Have you read that?
I have not.
Oh, it's really, really good. Tomorrow's our final book club on it. But that was one thing Ruth said that Georgia, I believe, had told her, is that you can always say, we need more, we need more, we need more. But there just comes a point when you say, we got to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a point where you say, on balance, this is a little risky. Do we really want to take the risk?
Yeah. I listened to that Tony Berkowski podcast, what I'm talking about?
I do.
And he released another Adelson show today about, Harvey or Wendy. A lot of it, though, was a repeat, I think, from last week. But what was it he said? Basically time is of the essence. And it's kind of like, you got to go now. Because other attorneys on there were like, it could be longer. I just don't think it makes sense. But Vinnie was saying, oh, this is just different. This is just a very different process and case because there's so many people involved. But he said he had been tipped off by somebody. Now, I don't know. But that's what he told me before I started rolling my camera.
Tipped off that?
He said somebody told him, keep your eyes on Tallahassee.
I found this on the web.
No.
Huh.
So, I don't
well,
know.
that sounds as though it will be sooner rather than later. Otherwise, why should we keep our eyes on Tallahassee?
Yeah.
We have other things to do with our eyes. You have a book club,
Right. Andrew asked, why did Sigfredo's appeal? It was denied in 3 months, and we're still waiting on Charlie's appeal 4 months to date.
Yeah, I don't know why Sigfredo's appeal went that quickly. Typically, it takes more than 3 months. So if you're right that it was done in 3 months, I'm really surprised about it. So I wish I could answer that for you, Andrew, but I can't. And appeals, as I say, 4 months to go to have from the time an appeal is docketed until a decision is very quick, no matter what state you're in.
Well, I would say because he's Sigfredo and Charlie's Charlie. I hate to say it, but that's what I think it is. Ain't No Hollaback Girl says, Charlie would flip for a lesser with parole. Wave the carrot. So yeah, let's talk about that. Are there loopholes? I know in Florida they get life. So is there a way they could get around that?
Yeah, I'm not, obviously I'm not expert on Florida law, but I have heard it. Earlier, there was some discussion among lawyers on channels that there should be a way to be able to do it. It would be, I think, a little complicated because the sentence is now a done deal. You can't go to a parole board. It might take, you might have to involve the governor to get there. I don't know if there's a mechanism for withdrawing the sentence after the fact. It doesn't sound to me like there would be. But I do think that if there is a way to manage it, that the prosecutors in Tallahassee, Georgia, could figure it out with the AG and then see what could be done. And I do agree, ain't no hollaback girl, that, and I've said this all along, I just don't see Charlie in the long run staying silent. If Wendy is able to sort of live her life and, enjoy whatever the good life is for her while he's sitting, in prison, wallowing away,
Right.
and he did it, he did it for his mother, but he did it for her. And he thinks from those phone calls that we heard, the transcripts, that he thinks the reason why he got convicted was because she was on the stand saying things and before that doing stupid things at the day of the crime, like going out to the scene.
Yeah, going on Trescott. Yeah.
So I think he's sitting there, really fuming that her actions put him away, and now he's in prison and she's still having a hell time. I don't think she's ever visited him
No,
since he's been in prison.
no. And after she testified at his trial, she left. She wasn't there for his sentencing. She wasn't at her mother's sentencing.
I don't think she sent a text message to him or a
Nope.
phone call or anything. I don't know about Charlie, but were I would be mad as hell.
Yeah.
And boy, I would want to get my own.
Yeah. I think of the fights my brother and I used to have. I mean, physical fights. I think a lot of siblings did. I don't know. Maybe it's just a Gen X thing, but we would have physical fights. So I can only imagine. My brother would definitely not do that for me.
Yeah. Now, Donna, I don't think will ever flip. Because
No,
for
this is
Donna,
Brandon.
however much, I think she does feel guilty somewhere in her brain for what happened to Charlie. But I think Donna feels her legacy is the two grandsons, and she's never going to say anything that would lead them to believe she was complicit in their father's death. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. I think she still just doesn't even think she's done anything wrong because they didn't actually do the shooting.
Yeah, well.
Elizabeth says, whenever you refer to Mr. B, my husband, I just love it. You kind of remind me of the show Heart to Heart. I used to love that show when I was little. It's cute.
That was what?
Kim B says, I love talking about Wendy.
Yeah, so does everybody else.
Yeah. It was funny at CrimeCon that like you kind of start talking to people and you figure out like what's their case. Like there's just some people that are very into the Idaho 4 and that. And then there's the Adelson crew. Of course, there were a lot of people talking about Nancy Guthrie, but everybody has this one case. I met some people at the pool one day and they were like, oh, you got to meet Heather. And like, she found me the next day and was like, oh my God. And she just wanted to talk all things Adelson.
Boy, I think if Adelson is not number one on everybody's hit parade, it comes in second to whoever their number one is.
Yeah.
Because it just really, and I think it's the story. I mean, yeah, it's a bad murder. But, it's the idea that you change the kids' names and you keep them from their grandparents and the Holocaust heirloom ring you never return. I mean, it's all that backstory of just what I think is just pure evil.
Yeah.
That colors the story in a way that I think just pulls at the heartstrings and captures people's interests.
Yeah. That's the chapter we're going to cover tomorrow. As I was preparing my PowerPoint today, Ruth Markel says that it's a true crime lover's dream, this case, because it has all the elements, right? It's got divorce, FBI, wiretaps, somebody that a co-defendant that turns. I mean, it's just got all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah. JKC says maybe Rashi purposely clouded the waters, ineffective counsel to protect Wendy.
I don't see why. He's got no relationship with Wendy. He's being paid by Charlie. He's being paid by Donna. He's got the affinity with Donna. I don't see what his reason would be to try to protect Wendy.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Donna was always like when Charlie on that call was like, does it have to do with Wendy? No. She's just all about Wendy.
Yeah.
Rosemary says turn on closed caption. It doesn't work on lives. Sorry. I mean, if I was replaying a video, I guess. But let's see. Oh, Ain't No Hollaback Girl says Wade Wilson has same appellate attorney as Charlie Offerman. Takes forever for appeals. That's not why. Okay.
Well, Offerman, I think, taught or teaches at FSU, and he's reported to be the best appellate lawyer, or at least among the very best in the state. So he's got a long waiting list of people who want him to handle their appeals. And he's doing Charlie's, and as I say, they did come up with a couple of things. That's what turned Donna's trial upside down, because they appeared and said Charlie's not going to consent to this, and he's got the privilege, and that was Opperman.
New York Patriot Lady says during rewatch, anyone notice Donna's defense counsel led Harvey out of the courtroom when FBI Special Agent Kendall was about to take the witness stand? He recorded Harvey and Charlie at Matsuri.
Huh.
I had not.
I didn't either. But I don't think from the stream that I would have seen anybody being walked out.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, Harvey wasn't doing Donna any favors in the audience with his scowl on his face.
Yeah.
I mean, the jury watches people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk about, let's see. All right, Fletcher Boy asks, Prof, doesn't Charlie have to waive attorney-client privilege to proceed against Rashbaum? And does the privilege apply to Donna?
Well, yeah, what's going to happen is if he's going to go after Dan Rashbaum, then Rashbaum has the right to respond, and he may respond with privileged communications or, private matter. And he's got to do that to respond to the claim that Charlie's making. So the answer to that is yes. Does the privilege apply to Donna? Donna has attorney-client privilege, but it's not Charlie's. She's got an independent attorney-client privilege with Daniel Rashbaum up until the time that he withdrew from the case. So she would have to, if he wants to talk about, I can't imagine what the facts would be that would lead to it. But if Daniel Rashbaum needs to refer to something that's a private or privileged or confidential communication with Donna in order to respond to Charlie, now he's got a problem. It's because he can't independently breach his privilege with Donna in order to protect himself with any claim of ineffective assistance of counsel from coming from Charlie. This is, for a law professor, these cases are just like, catnip to a cat. I mean, because every turn you take leads to three different, paths.
Yeah. Well, this just like makes me think of a Rubik's Cube. And I was the kid that was like, oh, hell with it. I'm just going to peel the stickers off. And then you screw the whole puzzle. But like trying to explain the whole Rashbaum Donna thing. I mean, I start talking about it and then I'm like, wait, is this making any sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was dumb. Julia, I agree. Ineffective counsel should have penalties like fines and so on to discourage unprofessional conduct.
Well, you can sue for ineffective representation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tort. So you can sue your lawyer. That's not the constitutional claim, but whether it's a criminal case or a civil case, you can go after your lawyer, for damages if the representation injured you to get to get whatever it cost you back. So that's always available. The lawyer himself, depending on what he did, is subject to discipline from the bar.
Well, I don't think anything ever happened with that bar complaint. I mean, I think it's got to be pretty egregious to get disbarred or.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be a disbarment. You can be fined. You can get a public reprimand. You can be suspended. You can be ordered to go take, CLE classes on things. I don't know. There's certainly nothing that's happened yet. Whether it's still an open complaint, we don't know, because unless they say that there was disciplinary action of some sort taken, we're not going to know.
Well, how much money do you think the Adelson, somebody asked me that, have paid them through him through the years? including Charlie's trial and all. A couple million?
How much?
Do you think a couple million?
It could be. I don't know what his arrangement was, whether he was on a retainer or whether it was by the hour. It's probably a retainer, probably a fixed amount except for court time. Now Miami fees are not like they would be in LA or New York. But I think they would have been upwards of $1 million. I don't know where they would have gone, Plus, she's paying for not just that; she's paying for all the experts. He had that jury consultant come in. She's paying for all of it.
I thought I saw that it was during Charlie's trial and all that. It was $75,000 a month. Is that right?
Well, if that's right, she represented her for quite a while before that case was, because the case wasn't the case. Adjourned to find new lawyers. Wasn't that about a year after she was arrested?
Yeah, because she was supposed to go to trial September of 24 and she was arrested, November of 23.
Yeah, so 10 months.
Bags packed. I was about to head out the door to Tallahassee.
And he'd already been advising her, because she talked to him about whether she could leave the country. So at a minimum, if you're right, it was $75,000 and it was 10 months. At a minimum, it's $750,000.
And then it just came out in that transcript that's not sealed anymore from the in chambers that Rashbaum Donna could talk to Harvey when Rashbaum was meeting with her.
That was the claim. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the claim. And then I caught this when we watched the Marisol Descalzo arraignment with Donna, and when it was a hot mess when Donna got reprimanded because she's laughing, or not laughing, but scoffing and everything. And Marisol was like, I can't get in here to meet with my client. And she said, Charlie, gave one of his visits to his mom. So Rashbaum still had Charlie there. He had already been convicted. And then Donna, and he's going back and forth. It's nuts.
It is nuts.
Yeah.
But and he shouldn't have done it. There's no question. But the clients, the clients have some responsibility here. What would lead them? I mean, Donna apparently absolutely idolized him. She thought he walked on water, because what would lead her to want him to represent Charlie and then her, and not think that there were going to be issues about it? And in addition, after watching what happened in Charlie's trial, what in the world would lead her to want him to be her lawyer and hers? I don't know. She probably wasn't watching the same trial I was watching.
Yeah. Good point. Look at that. Peachy King gifted 5 Prof Jo Explains memberships.
Thank you.
That's so sweet. Oh my gosh. Kiss My Grits. I love your pick, Peachy King. Was that Mel's Diner? I loved that.
It is. God, what a memory you have. Yes.
Oh, as a little girl.
It was Alice, wasn't it? Wasn't she the waitress?
Yes, she was. She go, kiss my grits.
Yeah.
I'm going to start saying that instead of bless your heart. I'm going to say, kiss my grits. Oh, it was a big deal, though, to watch TV in your parents' room. And I can remember watching that.
She wasn't Alice the one who said it. It was the waitress with the big puffy red hair.
Yes.
That would say, I don't remember what her name was.
See, I try to explain this stuff to my son. I'm like, you just don't understand. Growing up, we couldn't just on demand Netflix and all this.
Yeah.
We had 3 channels. And when the president was on, you were screwed because it was on all 3
every channel. That's right.
Nowadays, you don't even know. I mean, it's crazy.
What's also what I think is really unfortunate about it, very unfortunate, is we don't have a shared experience doing anything anymore. It can't be everybody was watching. I don't know, when my parents first had their TV, I think they watched maybe Ed Sullivan. Everybody in the country watched one show, so everybody had the same experience of something.
True.
If there's something like that today, I don't know what it is.
That's a good point, because it's like today, my brother was over here. I'm like, have you heard about Aaron Spencer? He's like, no. And of course, us in the true crime world, we're all yeah, talking about it. But it's very true. It's kind of like local news. I don't watch it anymore. So I never really know what's going on in Nashville. Jenny Moody says, love watching you both. Justice for Dan. I agree. Oh, New York Patriot Lady. Look at you, belong on TV next to Vinnie. Yeah, right.
I agree. Great shot, great interview.
You know, I noticed that Vinnie had a wedding band on, and I don't think I've seen that before. I could be wrong, but
He had a show I saw today, and there was a wedding band on, but I can't talk about whether he's worn it before. He's clearly married.
yeah. Let's see. Sheflaw says, my mind was blown when I found out Wade had Tallahassee ties. He was in the same class at Chili's as one of my very good friends. I have to say, I'm surprised Foreman would take his case. Ufferman. He may not have had a choice. I mean, I imagine it gets assigned. Ufferman.
What?
Like with Ufferman, with Wade Wilson?
No, the appellate lawyers, if you have to have an appellate lawyer, it works the same way that the PD does. You go through the public defender's office and they've got appellate lawyers, and if they can't do it, then they can. I don't think they run an assignment, sort of the next person on the roller deck has to do it. What they typically do is they're lawyers who say that they will do appeals, and they do it at a reduced rate. But I don't think Ufferman, and I shouldn't speak past what I know. So everything I said, is me speaking about what I think the rules are, but it's not speaking as if I know what the rules are. So just be wary.
Right. Well, we appreciate it. And yes, Peachy King, thank you. I'm really bad about asking for people to like, and we appreciate that. And if y'all would subscribe to both of us, we would appreciate it very much. That was my favorite part of CrimeCon, was just getting to talk to Prof Jo. I mean, y'all, it's
ditto. It was amazing. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
fun.
I will
tell everyone I am direction challenged, and Leslie saved me when I had to leave Caesars the first night. She walked with me and got me to the exit where I couldn't go wrong getting back to Harris. And even then, she walked with me part of the way to make sure I couldn't go wrong. So she was a delightful savior.
I was like, should I just walk her back? I mean, I don't know. Then I think it was 2 nights later, my husband and we walked over that way and we went to Flamingos or something. I'm like, oh my God, she was doing this alone. And I felt so bad. So y'all, I wanted to show y'all this necklace that says never, never give up. I gave Prof Jo one. And of course, it's cheap, Amazon. I mean, they were just $5.99, but mine is turning, it's not gold. But I think I've promoted them so much. Amazon only has one for sale right now.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I need to get some of these made.
You should.
Yeah. I started wearing it, because of, obviously, we know Donna said never, never, never give up to Wendy. And then Ruth Markel's uncle, who gave the Holocaust ring to Dan, he always said never give up. So then Ruth said that. And so I've really enjoyed wearing the necklace. And people at work are like, what does your necklace say? And they think I'm very determined in sales, never, never, never give up on that sale. But now I'm kind of thinking about, not that I want to need a pure gold one, but I want to get something that will last, that's not going to turn green.
So there's Jimmy McNutty. He says we ran into each other twice. It's not quite true, because once he was going down the down escalator and I was going up the up escalator, and we waved, but we weren't actually, mano a mano, as we say.
Mano. Hey, I got lucky on the escalator. I looked over and it was Chris Hansen. So we were both going up, and I said, do you want to have a seat or take a seat? And I said, well, you're stuck with me, so that means we have to take a photo. And he's laughing in the photo. He was really nice.
Yeah.
I think he's more handsome in person. I don't know if you saw him, but I was sad you missed Sunday, because Sunday I thought was excellent.
Oh,
and
tell me what happened. I was sorry to miss it too, but
yeah, I would say there was maybe a fourth of the people there. So two things happened. One was I snuck and sat in the gold section seating. And I'm like, yep, I'm buying that for next year because they have more leg room. And I'm tall. And, when you have to like go across the people, I mean, you know what it's like.
I know what it's like. Yes.
Yeah. And so it was the behavior panel, and they showed episodes or clips from Interview with a Killer that David Scott is doing on it's a show on Court TV. Excellent. And so we got to see them analyze it. I mean, they were great on stage. I will say, when I met them in person and asked for a photo, they were kind of like, okay. I mean, that was not, they did it to be nice, but I just feel like if you come to CrimeCon and these are your fans, like
Yes.
me, I would be like, I don't care how painful this is. I'm going to smile and I'm going to
Exactly.
do this. These are your people.
Exactly.
But, and then Mike King, do you know who he is?
No.
What's it called? Evil, but he talks about like coercive control and, it was powerful. I was emotional. It was the best thing I heard the whole week. And he was the last thing, or the whole 3 days, I should say. But
well, I'm sorry I missed it.
yeah, flying out Monday was a good decision. I'm going to do that next year.
I haven't decided about, I did sign up because I'm never not going to be at the headquarters hotel again.
Yes, exactly. I signed up too, and I booked my room, but I need to check that because you said it was only 2 nights.
Yeah, and I haven't had a chance to check it. I'm going to do it too, just to see.
I think I saw Josh Ritter said at this CrimeCon there were way more people than Denver, and I kept thinking it felt like more people, but I was only in Denver one day, so I didn't really know how to gauge it. I feel like
and I couldn't because this was my first. So
yeah, but it was a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, so let's talk about what everybody wants to know about the cease and desist that I got from John Lauro.
Yes.
So I did share it with Prof Jo back when I got it over 3 months ago. And I sat on it for a while. I didn't tell anyone. I got it the day I started serving federal jury duty. So, I guess in your age, you start 20-something-year-old Leslie would have been like, oh my God, freaking out. But as you get older, you kind of process things. But tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, was it related? I asked you a couple of questions then. I'm not sure whether I asked you this. Was it related to a particular show, or was it related particularly to the song?
Yeah. So that's a good question. Like, I have wondered, like, what was the trigger? Because I do a lot of things like a lot of other content creators. So part of me was like, oh, I am a game changer. And then the other part of me was like, why me?
Yeah.
But some of it was very copy paste. But one thing that threw me off, it said, through your YouTube and social media content, you have unlawfully promoted the sale of merchandise that depicts Miss Adelson. Now, I don't have any merchandise with her. I would not want anything with her name or picture. One night I did share Christina, who has designed the shirt and lots of awesome shirts, and I had shared her link, and I think there was something like Call Me Jill, or I don't even remember. So I don't know if he was talking about that.
Well, if he was talking about that, they really are paying attention to content creators, because that was one show.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, because I don't have any. I mean, it was only on one show, but also said to cease and desist any and all use of Miss Adelson's name, image, likeness, and any other recognizable aspect of her persona.
Yeah, so they're claiming that something you're doing is appropriating her economic value that she can exploit in her name, image, likeness. But boy, is that, in my view, an overbroad interpretation, because you're doing a channel where you're providing information and news and opinion and comment and humor, and all that has protection under the First Amendment. And you're not selling a product.
Right.
You're not even selling your YouTube channel. I mean,
Right.
it's not as though people pay to what, I mean, people could subscribe, somebody could become a member, but you're not even selling the channel.
Right.
So that is an extraordinarily overbroad view.
Yeah.
But of course, what they expect to happen is most people will say, I don't want to get involved in litigation over this. I don't want to have to hire a lawyer over this. It's just easier just not to do it.
Well, so what I did, so I thought about it a while. And so I'm like, okay, I mean, using clips from court TV or Law and Crime of her and testimonies, I mean, that's fair game. Now, some of the stuff where I had made a video with her boyfriend, George, okay, I took all that stuff down. I'm like, that's fine. I'll respect that. But she is a named, unindicted co-conspirator.
Yeah.
But-
and at this point, I think she would qualify as a public figure, at least for a limited purpose that is related to all these prosecutions and the murder of Dan Markel.
Right.
So she would have to meet a very high standard to prevail in litigation if they were claiming that you slandered her.
Mhm.
Now, on the name, image, likeness, you can't, for example, decide you were going to put her name on a T-shirt and sell the T-shirt.
Yeah.
That was be an exploitation of her name and image and likeness in terms of sale. On the other hand, if you wrote a book about the Markel murder and you talked about her in the book, she could not go after you for your using her name in the book on the theory that you're getting paid for the book. So those are kind of the two extremes here. Creative, newsworthy, is on one side, art, literature, and on the other side is when it's straight sale.
Yeah.
And I think content providers in general are much closer to this side than they are to a straight sale. We don't sell anything. That's why I asked you if it was related to anything in particular.
Yeah. I mean,
know.
so we know Metric's got one. I mean, he talked about it and it was a specific video. And I
Right.
stay away from the boys because I don't want to highlight. I
No.
mean, that's, they're kids. I have son. I'm not going to do that. But it was so general, like, and then it said like threats. I'm like, I mean, what threats have I? So one live, I did say, hey, I should email Charlie and send him pictures of Wendy and what a great life she's having.
And he thinks that's a threat?
I don't know. I mean, I was like, what? But it was interesting that I got it and other people didn't, because other people do. And how is it? There's attorneys out there doing why Wendy should be arrested and all this. And by the way, like, my channel is classified under entertainment. Maybe I'm an easy target. I don't know, but it's clear they found me on LinkedIn. Because it was sent to my work, and the name I use on LinkedIn is what it was sent to. And that's only the name I use on LinkedIn. So.
It's interesting. You could have responded and asked him to tell you in particular what they thought, violated her name, image, likeness.
Yeah.
But,
I didn't want to engage.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
that's right.
I mean, part of me is kind of like, what are you so scared of? And I'm a little flattered that as a middle-aged woman that taught herself how to do this in the last year, I got her attention.
Yeah. Well, I think what's really extraordinary is the extent to which she, through her lawyer, is paying attention to all of this. I mean, she said, didn't she say on the stand one time? She never reads anything. She never looks anything. She's oblivious to all of it. Well, I guess what she means to say is, I'm not looking, but I hire people to do it for me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, she says she doesn't watch. I don't believe that for a second.
I don't either, but that's what she said.
Yep. Ain't no hollaback, girl. You're cracking me up. Recent photo of Wendy seems she's carb loading. So that is a couple things I will say that I've changed. So I have like a disclaimer now on my video that just says, this is my opinion. I've got the banner up, but It might have been the song, and then also the FOIA stuff.
But you're entitled to FOIA information.
Right. I mean,
That's a public right.
it's all publicly available information, but the information that, and I haven't even put out there 80% of what it was. I mean, the emails between her and her mom about her kids and all that, but I'm not going to do that to them. I found it all very interesting.
Well, but the way you read the cease and desist didn't sound as though it had anything to do with the sons.
Yeah,
It's
no,
talking
because
about
I
her
don't.
name, image, likeness rights.
Right. It just says the statements were not presented as opinion. So that's what I'm just saying. This is all my opinion.
Yeah, but that's also, you don't have to say before you start a sentence. Now, remember, this is my opinion here. You know, it's probably a little safer to do it, but you don't hear a comedian doing satire on a TV show say, okay, now what I'm going to do, remember, this is my opinion, before he does the satire.
Right. Yeah. I was shocked. And then I thought, well, everybody must have gotten one. And then I found out it was me
Just
and
you?
Metrics. I was like, and then I did find out somebody else that I know who got one that's on a different social media platform.
Yeah.
But no one else.
Truth Seeker, and he's making a good point here, that if Vinnie is right that they're waiting for Charlie's appeals because Wendy may have to testify, then it has to be equally true that they're going to be waiting for Donna's appeals because Wendy would have to testify in a retrial there. Can't just be Charlie.
Wendy will be 60.
Yeah. Well, and Donna probably won't be here.
Right.
By the time all the appeals run. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, people live to 100, 105.
I think she's pretty healthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Did you hear about Webster telling about that joke that Georgia played on him?
Yes. I thought that was an evil joke.
I did
because
too.
he's so passionate and he cares so much.
Yeah. I thought it was super. I know a lot of people were really mad, but I think we don't know what Georgia and Stephen Webster's like friendship is. But
Right.
that's the kind of stuff I would do with friends.
So would I.
So, I mean, I know people were like, that was mean, but I can just see Georgia saying that. Let's see what else. Sorry, I'm scrolling. I'm way behind in chat. Crows and Gallows. I came on YouTube to listen to Jeff Lacosse's testimony while I cleaned. Does anyone else watch Adelson trial testimony and interviews in the background? And then I suddenly saw Leslie was live. Yes. Do you do that?
Not typically, because I'm trying to stay up to date and informed on so many trials and appeals that are going now. But on occasion, I will do it. What I'm actually trying to do now is could swear that I did either a live or a video that went through the evidence that could be introduced against Wendy at a trial. I just have, and I've mentioned it.
You told me
Exactly, but I can't find it in the playlist anywhere. So I don't know what happened. Either I have lost my mind, or it disappeared on its own, or it was destroyed somehow, or who knows, or it's there and I can't find it.
I kind of remember, I feel like that might have been around Christmas. I don't know why, or January. That's sad that I know that. But I sort of remember that. It probably was alive and maybe the title was different or something.
I looked, I only had 3 titles that referred to Wendy at all. And I watched 2 of them start to finish. I didn't think they had anything on this, and they didn't. And the third one was just last week, so that one couldn't. It's driving me crazy, though. It's like, when you misplace something.
We'll do another one.
Well, but I may have to. But I mean, this is really, I don't want to have to do one again when I already think I did one.
I'll go through and look. So I got the coolest thing, and I don't remember who told me about it. I think it was somebody on YouTube. So it's a sleep mask, and it has like little speakers built in, so you can attach to your iPhone on Bluetooth. And then there's a YouTube setting where you can put it on timer for 30 minutes or an hour so that it goes off. Because I was falling asleep in my AirPods and I was getting ear infections, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, I used to get a lot as a kid, so I'm
yeah,
very
I did
prone to them.
too. Wow.
But this has been the greatest thing ever. And but my husband he'll wake me up and be like, because the phone is like on pure brightness, but I'm sleeping, and he'll turn it off, and I'm like, no, I'm listening to it. But I woke up the other night and I hear Emily Baker. Do you ever watch her channel?
I've watched it on occasion, yes.
And I hear her talking. I think I do. And I think it was about the Karen Reed case. But now I'm wondering, was it a dream or what? But
Yeah.
I highly recommend those sleep masks.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Dedra Steele says, coincidence Charlie kept saying, but we couldn't possibly believe that it's all coincidence. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he would say, what a effing coincidence. See, I kind of feel like Charlie has already turned on Wendy because he said that in every jail call with his mom about Trescott. And he knew that was recorded. I mean, he's not stupid as far as that. I mean,
yeah, but he hasn't turned on her in a way that can be used.
Right.
And he hasn't turned on her in a way that it can be used either against him as an admission that would hurt him, if he's ever got a retrial, or against her, because it's not specific enough.
Right. Tallygal says the deal Leon District Attorney gave to Brian Winchester is an example of the kind of admissions they are willing to make. Of course, Denise Williams was not needed as a witness.
He testified against her, though. So let me see if I can figure out that she was not needed as a witness. He testified against her. Isn't that right? Yeah, no, I know he did. Because he was going to be prosecuted for the murder and he got the deal, and then he testified in her trial and she ended up being convicted of conspiracy. This is the case of the claim that it was an alligator or a crocodile that ate Mike Williams. I think it was Mike Williams, Denise's husband.
Somebody, let's see. Yeah, that case is wild. Truth Seeker says, I saw the clip about Wendy ceasing all contact with the Markells as soon as the trial was over. So I'll show that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like Tara Kawas, and I can understand that. However, that being said, there's a lot of nuggets in what she shares.
Yeah. I saw something that said she's still visiting. Maybe it was you who told me that, Katie, about once a week. I think she has to feel very guilty about that representation. I think she absolutely believed Magbano was innocent, notwithstanding the evidence. And I think that belief got in the way of really effectively, representing her. So a woman who could have been out with no prison time at all is in there with, for the rest of her life without the possibility of parole. That's really, if I had represented Magbano, I would be just sort of overwhelmed with guilt over it.
But yeah, she's still visiting her and she's not her legal representation.
Right.
So this was at Katie's sentencing. And this is, I always love when, and I have not been a Tara fan. I will tell you all that, but she always looks at the cameras. And she does that in the opening in one of the trials. And it's like, Donna Adelson is probably watching right now. Like speaking right to her. But let's see. We'll play.
Kept the Markel boys away from their grandchildren. In particular, the Adelsons have kept the Markel boys away from their grandchildren. In particular, I became aware that the testimony that was provided by Wendy Adelson in terms of her efforts to try to reunify the children with their grandparents were all false. And that as soon as the trial was over, all communications or attempts to have them be in their lives had ceased. One thing that I can say that Ms. Magbano hopes and prays for, and that she does know, is that justice is still ongoing and has not been reached in this case. And that she wants each and every person that had a hand in this and knows something about it to be brought to justice.
Amen.
Yes. See, I still use the song in little bits.
Yeah.
Pieces. Yes, and Tara was so there's an interview of Tara in when was Katie found guilty? 2022. So in 2019, she wasn't so sure that Wendy was involved, but in 2022, she was very convinced. So interesting. Okay, Susan says, I think you already answered this, but if Georgia has enough evidence to try Wendy, she would legally have to, despite how she feels about the boys, right?
Yeah, no, she's not legally bound to do it. I think she should, and I gave you my view when a prosecutor should, but there's no law that forces a prosecutor to prosecute a case. In part because if you think about it, if you could force a prosecutor who did not want to go forward to prosecute a case, how effective do you think the prosecutor would be? So if you do that at all, you really have to be doing it in a context in which you go somewhere else to have it prosecuted. In other words, the attorney general may come in to do the prosecution. You can't, if it's not unique to prosecution. You order a painting by a famous painter and you think he did a really terrible job. You want him to do it again. How do you make the painter paint a good, portrait the second time? It's not, it's called specific performance in the law, and you can get money for it, but forcing the actor to do it and then trying to oversee that the actor does it well is something that the law generally stays away from.
That Tony I can't pronounce his name. One thing that attorney said today was, and I just lost my train of thought. Wait, we were talking about, well, hell, I don't know. All right, let's answer McNutty's question.
So does Charlie's appeal keep discovery active? So if the state is still investigating Wendy, they have to disclose any new evidence to Charlie. They don't have to do it with regard to the appeal because the appeal is restricted to the record from the trial. But if he got a new trial, they clearly would have to disclose the new evidence to him.
Well, so what do you think about people that do FOIA requests and they want Wendy's cell phone download that they did that day and they won't release it? So
yeah, I don't, FOIA laws in the states vary as to what the privacy rights are or when it's a continuing, investigation. There's always an exception in those requests for a continuing criminal investigation. And so, it might come under that. And that's pretty tough. You've done FOIA requests. If the government says no, you can challenge and say you don't have a valid reason for doing it. But at some point, it's really difficult unless you really want to go into court and force it. So, most of these things rely on the actor on the other side acting reasonably and in good faith.
I think the whole FOIA process is very frustrating and interesting at the same time. Like Tamara Demko, when I was trying to get her interview, because there was only one other person that had it. And I kept filing for it. And they're like, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. I'm like, it does exist. I've seen it. But it is dated the wrong date on the video. And finally, when I basically chat GPT, like legally, what should I say? This is the situation. And I sent it. And within 48 hours, the state attorney's office sent me the video.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to do anything. The FOIA requests do not require that if I'm the custodian of the records or whatever, do anything extra for you. They require that I comply with you, but they don't make me, and in a sense you can say, I'm working on taxpayer money. So the taxpayers don't want me doing something for you as one person making a request. I think that's the way the law looks at it.
Yes, and you have to pay for whatever time it takes for them to gather it.
That's right.
But you have to be
run
very
into a fortune. Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't just be like, oh, send me some stuff from Donna's. You have to be very specific.
Right.
And if it's camera footage, you've got to give timestamps.
Yeah, I admire you for doing that.
Well, I'm one of these though. I love a challenge. Like I was like, oh, I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
Yeah.
It took a long time, but
That
I was
is
about to
good.
get my car and drive to Tallahassee because I knew it existed.
Uh-huh.
And then I finally realized that because she went there for the interview after Dan's Tallahassee memorial, but it was dated on that Saturday. And so when I finally put together just the discrepancies and I documented it all, they got it to me. But
really wonderful.
yeah, true crime wife.
Well, yeah, she thought, or he thought, I guess wife would be, well, no, let me say he or she thought NIL was only for athletes. No, name, image, likeness is everybody. It's book authors, it's actors, it's politicians, it's me and you. Now my name, image, likeness isn't worth anything. So somebody could use it and, they wouldn't make any money. So you typically only see it with professional athletes and actors, people with a lot of money, but we all have a right to our name, image, and likeness. And we all have a right to stop somebody from making money off of it.
Well, do you think she's considered a public figure?
Yes, for a limited purpose, which means she's not a public figure in general. For all things, if you wanted to go look at how she dresses, her style,
well, I don't know about
her
that.
travel, she's not. But for purposes of this murder and these prosecutions, I think she would be considered a public figure for a limited purpose.
I mean, yeah, she's done presentations online.
Yeah,
it's like she wants her cake and eat it too, though.
Yeah.
Because she likes the attention, but then not that kind of attention.
Yeah.
So
the argument against her being a public figure, even for a limited purpose, is that she was thrust into the limelight of the prosecution and the murder. She didn't elect to be there. But I think on balance, a court would say she's a public figure for this purpose, for this trial, for these trials, for this murder.
Yeah. Ain't no how back girl. No, she did not send Patty a cease and desist. So
no. Patty's been this is Patty's Playhouse. She's been very, let me say, direct.
Yeah, she has. And I appreciate Patty was, defending me because we do have free speech. And
you better believe it.
I was going to show, I don't want to take up all your time.
No. I'm yours for as long as you want me.
Okay. So I also watch, I don't know, so for my 50th birthday, we went to the British Virgin Islands. It's just a magical place. And so I watch a lot of these sailing videos, which, I would never go live on a sailboat, but especially after the Lynette Hooker thing. But I follow this channel. It's called, I don't know, Sailing Zatara. So this man sold his business and they live on this catamaran. They raise the kids on there. And they're all young adults now. They homeschooled them. But he's talking about free speech. And this is a new video. And let me see if I have it at the right timestamp.
Dallas is an old gas business in Dallas. And my daughter lived in Emerald. My oldest daughter, Tate, lived in Emerald. And I was going to watch her volleyball game. And I was in Dallas. I went to Love Field. This was right after 9/11. And I go to the airport, but before I go to the airport, I need to tell you, my Texas driver's license had expired. And so the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles, sent me a new temporary certificate that didn't have my picture on it. And then they clipped the old driver's license. So you have the old driver's license for the ID, and the new one says, we're sending you the new one in the mail in 60 days. Those two together represent the correct paperwork to get you through checkpoints. And so I went to Love Field. I was running behind. I was in a hurry. And I need to catch a flight to Amarillo from Dallas, and it's just a 1 hour flight. And I get to the first checkpoint there. And this was right after 9/11, 6-7 months after 9/11. And you got the DHS guys there. They're all, doing their job. And they say, well, you're going to have to get searched because your driver's license is expired. Now I said, no, I have the proper paperwork here. My driver's license is not expired. They're sending me the new one. Here's the replacement piece. I had all the correct documentation. But because they're DHS officials and they don't have common sense, they immediately said, well, you're going to have to get searched. So I go to the next line. I go to the next line down by the x-ray machines, and I'm standing in the line. There's probably 50 people behind me, 100 people behind me. And the big old buff DHS guy comes up, and he's Mr. Bad Boy, thinks he's tough, and he's Mr. Authority. He's been given a badge, and he thinks he knows what he's doing. And he says, "Come over here, we're gonna have to search you." And once again, I want to preface this. I don't want to say anything that's insensitive to Jews or to people who endured Russia, the Soviet Union, Stasi police, or Mao's criminal police and secret police there. But I made the comment to the guard. I said, this must have been what it felt like for the Jews in early 1930s Germany when their paperwork wasn't quite right, and you had some Nazi goon detain them and go put them into persecution. And I didn't get persecuted, but I'm not saying I have anything like Jews or anything like that. But the start of it started like that for the Jews, I'm sure, just like it starts in America or anywhere else, or in Soviet Union or wherever else. Anyway, when I said that, he immediately had a lapel mic on, and he said something in his lapel mic, and within about 30 seconds, there was about 10 guys around me with guns pointed at me, and he was yelling in my face, "So you need to stand down, sir. You need to stand down, and you need to cooperate." I had not said anything else. I didn't accuse him of being a Nazi. I didn't say he was a Nazi. I said this just must have been what these people felt like when they were standing in a line, hoping their paperwork would get them through that checkpoint. And anyway, they harassed me for about another 30 minutes at least 30 minutes. I thought I was going to miss my flight. And they told me, they took me aside, they searched me, and they said, "You're going to let us search your bag?" I had a little backpack, long story short. And while I was sitting there, I had a choice right then. I had a choice to stand up. My life wasn't in danger, but I had a choice to stand up for what was right and correct, or to be a coward.
Get on the
plane.
plane.
I can tell you at that point in life, this was 2001, 2002.
Did you say something?
I said, or get on the plane. I mean, that was the choice.
Right. Exactly. But he brings up a point.
Yeah.
I chose to be a coward, and here's what went through my head. I wanted to stand up and tell them to all go F themselves and go pound sand because they're all a bunch of criminals. But I chose not to, because what went through my head was, I'm going to get arrested if I push this. I'm going to be on the TV news, and my clients are going to see me. My clients are going to see that I'm some crazy guy at the airport. And therefore, I'm going to lose my way of life. I'm going to lose money. I'm going to lose my material comfort, my financial comfort, and I could lose my business. And so money, comfort, and security meant more to me then than my freedom, my personal freedom, and standing up. So I told the guy, I said, "All right, I'm a coward. You got me. I'm giving up. You guys do what you need to do. I'll make my plane." And I went on. And while I was sitting there, there was another guy standing there. I said, "George Washington and the founding fathers would roll over in their grave if they knew what you were doing." And he told me point blank in my face, he said, "I don't give a crap about George Washington. He ain't here and we ain't there." And it just, as I walked away from that checkpoint, I realized what a coward I was. And I swore to myself then, I will never be a coward again and choose money, financial security, my great job. I love my job, or anything over my freedom. And I set out at that point in life. So all you guys in the comments, leave a comment if you've ever been in that situation, or what you would do in that situation. Would you choose your security and your comforts over your freedom, or would you choose the other?
Well, it's obvious during COVID, many people did choose to get the vaccine because they didn't want to lose their jobs. And it was, I'm sure they were.
So all this to be said, I saw this yesterday or the day before, and I was like, it's kind of how I felt with the cease and desist. Like, are you like, this is not right? But then it's just like, at what point, like, what's it worth?
Yeah. And I would have chosen to get on the plane too, and I still would. But he did have a third option, or would today, and that is to record the whole thing.
True.
Get on the plane and then report them all.
Mm-hmm.
Or get on the plane, give it to a news station, report them all.
Right. And then they talk about the COVID vaccine. So at my job, you were required to get it or you were fired, because it's in healthcare.
Yeah.
And
The COVID vaccine, I think, is a little different. And I'm not defending, any of the policies on either side there, anybody's position on it. Simply that with COVID, if they were right that it was infectious, then your choice is not just your choice,
Mm-hmm.
because your choice affects me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing maybe with a flu shot. If there aren't enough people getting it, so we end up with a big whatever, your choice is that when it's only your choice, it seems to me you should be able to do whatever you please.
Yeah.
I used to feel that way even about motorcycle helmets. You want to ride on a motorcycle with helmets, so be it. But you're going to get hit by a car. Your head is going to be crushed, and then all your medical expenses are going to fall on me as a taxpayer.
Exactly.
And if that's true, you shouldn't have the right to make that choice. If you want to waive, if it happens, nobody has to take care of me, then I'll support you.
Right. No, I
Yeah,
agree.
but he's right. And that's that business, you have to really, and we don't do a good job all the time. Most people in those positions, most police officers act responsibly. They do what they're supposed to do. But that badge and that authority, gives you a place where if you've got that gene, to sort of ride roughshod, here I am, I'm the authority, and you better do what I want. It's dangerous. And so, we need to do a really good job of vetting for those positions to avoid it. I don't know if you've watched anything on the civil suit that Karen Reed has brought, and I didn't watch the trial at all.
Yeah.
But that stuff that they're reporting, that those officers said, it's another example
Unbelievable.
of, I've got the badge, and now, the comment about the cars being driven by African Americans, and let them die. I mean, it's an outrage, and and the problem, now I'm going to be on my soapbox. I'm sorry.
No, that guy should be in prison.
I agree. But the point is, with all the, I used to say the policy is like a tube of toothpaste. If you stop it here, it oozes somewhere else. And you got to be sure that you've got the best accommodation, because if we're after the police all the time because we think some of them are not doing their jobs correctly, fewer people are going to apply for those jobs.
Right.
And that means the vetting process will end up not being as tight as it should be. And we're only going to increase, in my view, increase the problem we're trying to solve.
Right.
So we need to be really careful about it. But it looked like that police department. I mean, I'm going to be interested in the rest of that coming out.
That is when
I've never seen anything like it. Truly,
I know, when
I've
the
never seen anything like it.
was dismissed the other day, I was like, and this is why you should live in Arkansas and not Massachusetts. That Massachusetts stuff, and I know people are very divided on the Karen Reed. I think a lot of people know where I stand with it, but like, how can you still defend that after all this evidence that's coming forward? It is unbelievable.
Well, and I would say, even if you think she killed him, the conduct of the police and those emails and that behavior is still separate from what you think about her guilt or innocence, and it should never be condoned.
Yeah,
never. So
yeah, that whole place needs to be overhauled. Taterbug said, ask what the cost is for a cease and desist. I guess whatever the hourly fee is.
That's right. Whatever it costs the lawyer to do it. And you have to bring him the information. If you want the lawyer to actually check out what happened, then it's going to cost you more.
So I remember in 2007 when I got a divorce, and then I got remarried, obviously, to Mr. B. But my divorce was very vanilla. But I quickly learned how lawyers bill in increments. It was a very basic divorce. It was $25,000.
Wow.
Yeah. But, that's when you learn, like, you don't forward every email. And yeah, it was pretty crazy. And there was like nothing crazy at stake. Yeah, we know Wendy's watching. Hey, Wendy. I know. I mean, I'm a little flattered. I am, like.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's pretty impressive to be like in your 50s. You teach yourself how to make videos, and like, wow.
I think that is more than impressive. That's absolutely. On a university campus, the law faculty is we're the pampered prima donnas, because we insist on what we want, and we within a range, we usually get it. When I was actively teaching, I thought this was great. I didn't have to know how to load a computer. You know, when I bought something, IT came and did it for me. During COVID, we each had in our classrooms when we were doing hybrid, we each had an assistant to handle the online portion and put up PowerPoint. Never had to do anything at all. It was great. But now that I don't have all that support and I never learned to do any of that, it is no longer great.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh.
Hey, let me tell you a story. He was doing that and it reminded me a really funny story. I had a colleague at the law college who was really a, people's rights, and he was just out every protest everywhere. He was doing it, and he taught criminal law, and he was on campus, and of course he had long hair and he had the Birkenstocks and everything. And I don't know where he was going, and I don't know what he did anymore, but campus police stopped him and asked him for his ID. And he said, I don't have to give you my ID. You don't have any right to ask. And campus police, I don't know what, and he gave them the ID. And he came back and said, I was right. I could have fought this, but I would have spent a day over at campus police headquarters. It wasn't worth it.
Mm-hmm. I get that. I mean, it's kind of like when I have corporate meetings and I'm just thinking, y'all are so full of shit. And I just go, yeah, that's great idea. That's great. Because, it's easier than
fighting. You got to pick your battles, right? It's with a teenager. You don't fight every little thing where they're wrong and you're right, because some of them aren't worth it. The ones that are worth it, you've got to go to the wall for.
Yes, you got to give a win for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Michelle, True Crime Metrics received the cease and desist.
Oh, really? Well, you said that True Crime Metrics got one.
Mm-hmm. Did he take down that video? I never
know.
Lee in Tennessee. Hello. You said, I wonder how Jeff is doing. So what my source tells me, not well. So everybody seems to say he's remarried or he's married and has a kid. That's not true. It's been very damaging to his life. I mean, can you imagine?
That makes me it's the one thing that I do wonder about, and that is, what kind of, I don't know what the noun would be, aura or presentation she has that she can have that sort of effect on men in particular.
She has, what do they call it? Like the trance or whatever. I mean, even Tim Jansen has said that she has this like effect around men. I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't know. Jimmy McNutty says, can the state arrest Wendy and still call her to the stand in Charlie's appeal and use prior testimony to get her to say it again while wearing an orange jumpsuit?
He knows the answer to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Quilting Quick Gal, member for a month. That's nice. Thank you. You ladies are so chic. We love that.
We certainly do.
I have to tell y'all a funny story. One night we were at Caesars and we were at this, I don't know, this bar, and Caesars is just, it's kind of crazy, but I love it. And there were people in like bikinis and wrong. And this couple was sitting across from us and they're like, are y'all solving murders or whatever? Like that's what people think CrimeCon is. And I said, this is a very famous attorney. And then the lady starts telling us how her family was in the mob or something.
Oh, I was with you that night.
No, that's all yes. With you. Yeah. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, I have never been in a hotel, and I was in 2 of them there in my life, where signs that tell you where the lobby is are either few or non-existent, where there are no straight lines anywhere, and where hotel staff cannot give you directions that get you somewhere. Yeah. And when you're directionally challenged, they're not giving you directions that are correct. The directionally challenged among us cannot discern that the direction is not correct. I had one trying to get from Caesars back to Harris. I was doing a court TV thing and I had to get back. And I asked hotel staff, can you direct me to the exit where the taxi stand is? Because that's the only exit. That was the one that would get me onto the road where I could see Harris and therefore could get there. And he said, oh, yes, yes, yes. You just go straight ahead, straight ahead, straight ahead. Well, in fact, what you have to do is go straight ahead, hard left turn. I don't mean a curve. I mean, you actually have to turn left and then you go straight ahead, and there's the exit. I will not tell you how many times that's the sort of direction I go.
Well, that's in Vegas. They don't want you leaving the casino. You'll notice there's no clocks and no windows around those slots.
There are none. And there are no seats anywhere but the casino or the restaurants.
Well, you'll be fine in Orlando. I've actually stayed at that hotel before. Years ago when I was in pharma sales, we would have these annual sales meetings before a big drug launch. And I've stayed there, and it's a super easy place to navigate.
Well, but I'm in the headquarters hotel. I never have to leave the hotel. So at least one half of the problems I had are solved.
Well, exactly. So Juanita says, in a worst case scenario, witnesses Geiger, Isom, Corbett are not available. How do the prosecutors plug those holes in a case against Wendy?
Well, Corbett, and he's retired now anyway, is he not? I think Corbett retired.
Yes, but he's working for the state attorney's office.
Oh, is he? Okay. Mm-hmm. But in any event, what he testified to with regard to all the, the technological stuff, another expert can come in and go through it all. You don't need to have Corbett do it. Isom in a prosecution against Wendy, since it's her statements, it's her interview, somebody else can interview the video that was done, that 5-hour video. The first one was Geiger, that was the neighbor. They can get in the information from the neighbor by someone else. She does have a right of confrontation, so they can't simply bring in his testimony. I'd have to think about whether there's an exception to it, but unless there's an exception, they can't just read his testimony into the record, but they can get in that information. It'll be a little harder, but they can do it.
But can't they, like, if he knew he was dying and, like, let's say on hospice, can't he do like a recording?
Yeah, that statement on anticipation of death is typically, it's not simply so you record something to preserve it. It might work, but there are going to be arguments against it also. But in any event, all he's talking about is knows and sees the car. They'll be able to get to it. There'll be a hearsay exception, or they'll be able to have somebody else get it in. I don't think it will be a problem.
Yeah. Juanita asks, is Roshbaum still practicing law? I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Just trying to see if there was something. Tallygal, I appreciated your clips of Tara. She and her co-counsel knew what the deal was. Oh yeah. I would love, I mean, I know they can't tell us anything, but
well, they can't tell you anything that their client said to them, but nothing else is privileged or confidential communication. If they've got it from someone else, if it doesn't relate to work product, and even work product. I mean, and the other thing is, Magbanova can consent to let them talk about anything if she wanted to.
Right. Patriot Lady, I love when Jackie exposed Wendy in front of Donna. Oh my geez whiz. Yeah, I wondered if Donna really was on board with all that. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. She looked fondly when Wendy got on the stand. It was kind of like longing. If I were wanting to feel sorry for her, that would have been the point in the trial that I would have felt sorry for her, even more than when Rob testified.
I did a side-by-side of when Wendy walked in versus Rob. I mean, night and day. It's creepy. Beach Bum, anyone see the Zoom hearing with Kawas and DeCoste? She said they had to see if there was still funding for a defense. Weaver should have jumped on that. I still think the Adelsons paid for it. Because Sigfredo and Katie originally had public defenders. and then there was conflict because they had a connection or something to Dan, and then all of a sudden they had private attorneys. So how do you go from being indigent to having a private attorney?
And they were paid for separately. It wasn't a state fund. I don't know. I know that the original judge was said to have vetted it, in camera, and decided she was not, or decided there wasn't enough evidence to show that that the money was being paid through one of the Adelsons or fund. And I thought Kawas was interviewed recently and said the money did not come from.
Yeah, well, she's not going to admit that. And maybe she doesn't know, and even Katie supposedly paid for Sigfredo's, but then Katie's sister-in-law, who was convicted of giving money to the spiritual healer cult thing, she was giving money to Katie. I don't know. Zoe says, Prof Jo, you went over the points for Wendy being arrested with Judy, AA Legal Focus, before you started your channel.
Well, they might have done that, but I guess I should go back and look. I mean, I really had I can't find the notes either, so maybe I better go look. Thank you. I will look. If anybody in this chat wants to search to help me, I would appreciate it no end, because this will be the deep dive of all deep dives to try to find it.
Yes. I mean, I've done that before, like trying to find something. Oh, the Brian Hooker case. Yeah. What do y'all think about all that? That is going to be crazy. Are you watching that?
I am. And, I know nothing about boating, but I am a suspicious soul. And the idea that you're on a dinghy with your wife, and she falls off the dinghy and you can't find her, strikes me as suspicious before I hear anything else. And then I thought there was an early report from him that said she fell off. She had both of the, whatever they are, that tell you where the boat is in the water. And she was going this way, and then it was too dark to go, and the boat was going, the dinghy was going this way. And I don't know anything about anything, but I was surprised to know that if the same current can move one person forward and the other one back at the same time.
Yeah.
I thought the current went one way. So who knows?
Well, and then I don't even remember what I've watched, but the batteries that are on these boats, they're like black boxes. And so Brian may not be as smart as he thought he was.
Oh, most of these people aren't. And I've heard a lot of people say that they think the murder actually happened on the big boat, not on the dinghy.
Oh, I think so. I think for sure. And I think he put the weight belt on her, and I think sunk her way out there. But
it would have to be way out there. You know what a lot of murderers don't know when they murder someone and drop them in the water, whether they put weight belts or anything else, when the body starts to decompose or the fish get at them, the weight may stay down, but the bones and things are going to surface.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is too much of that sort of knowledge that I have in my head.
No, yeah. Well, do you know who Cheryl McCollum is, the cold case investigator in Atlanta?
I've heard the name, but I've never seen her or heard her.
I know I'm so mad I didn't go to one of her sessions at CrimeCon, but I'll do it next year. But she's just published a book. It's called Swans Don't Swim in the Sewer. So when they were looking for somebody years ago, when she was an investigator with Nancy Grace, when she was a prosecutor, I mean, this was like 30 years ago. She said Nancy Grace, that was a quote. Swans don't swim in the sewer. But it's kind of, that's what she's going to talk about, I think, is just evidence and things, and that's going to be our next book club. So
oh, great.
Yeah. Oh, hey,
I'm going to start a book club too, and I don't know what we're going to do yet.
Let me tell you, the book club has been my most favorite thing, and people have loved it. So,
and you do a chapter at a time?
Yes, usually a chapter. Tomorrow I'm just doing the last 3 because the chapters are very short.
And you do PowerPoints.
I mean, it's a Google Doc. It's just easier that way. I have a guide. I do better to have a guide than freeballing it or whatever you want to say.
I like a guide too, but the issue I have is getting it onto the screen where people see it.
Well, if I was working on it today, my husband's like, "What are you doing? Is that for work?" I'm like, "No, it's for my YouTube." Yeah. People are like, "Oh yeah, is this what you do? You get to go to CrimeCon with all your YouTube money?" I'm like, "No, I mean that did not cover freaking CrimeCon. I can
Yeah,
assure
well,
you."
I'm operating at a deficit, so it certainly doesn't cover anything of mine.
Yeah, I mean people don't understand like between StreamYard and the software and all the stuff. But
Well, I'm buying a microphone and having to get a new laptop, and I could go on and on. The amount of paper I go through because I have to see it hard copy, and I bought another printer.
oh my gosh.
Oh God, it's just one thing after another.
Yeah. Yeah. Jimmy McNutty says Caesar's Palace has been remodeled so many times. The interior is a maze. You can't find the exit. True. And while I was there the last day, they had closed off like the area right next to the bar where we were, and they were renovating that. But I got lucky because the tower I stayed in Caesar's, the elevator went straight to the conference center.
Well, I couldn't make my way around every time I'd leave the conference center to go to one of the meeting rooms, I had to stop and ask.
Yeah.
And 3 days later, I still didn't know how to do it.
And I'm a very I can usually follow directions really well, but I was like almost in tears one day. I was like, "Where is Creator Row?" Because
Exactly.
said it was by the pool and it wasn't.
Well, the exit I needed to go through wasn't straight ahead. It was a left turn.
Yeah. Yeah. Kathy says all directions to Caesar's begin. Walk through the casino.
Yeah, and I can't walk through the casino because there's not a straight line through the casino either, Kathy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, you saw me that first night when I had all those wrong directions, and I didn't know there was more than one Caesar, so they sent me to the wrong Caesars to start. And then bad directions after bad directions. The one saving thing was I got 10,003 steps in just trying to get from Harris to Caesars. And believe me, anybody who's watching this, if you saw it on a map, you would think I was completely either out of my mind or incapable of counting to 3.
But it was hard. I mean, I will say it's hard because you got to get to the crosswalks over the street. When you walked back that night, did you see some crazy sidewalk interactions?
I did.
Yeah.
I saw crazy sidewalk interactions every time I went one way or the other.
Did you see the people with the cards doing this?
No, that I did not see.
They're giving out the strip club stuff. It's just curious. Yeah.
Well, they probably looked at me and decided I wouldn't be interested, or that they didn't want me there, one or the other.
Yeah. Oh, ain't no hollaback girl. You said Paul from Reporting from a Sofa was there. Okay. So I have a very blonde moment, which I've had since menopause. I used to never be an airhead, but I saw him. I'm like, "Hey," I said, "You're from a big comfy couch," which was a TV show when I was young. And he's like, "Yeah." And then someone with him was like, "Sofa." I'm sure he was thinking, "Lady, what are you talking about?" But it was, I'll tell you what was interesting to me, and I know I'm rambling, so I can go, but so many people don't know about YouTube. I mean, I sat next to so many people that were like, "Yeah, I've just learned about these YouTube channels." And they were like, "I like Forensic Files and Dateline." They have no idea about YouTube.
Wow. Boy, I've been looking at YouTube for a long time. I found it certainly during COVID that anything you wanted to know anything about, you could go on YouTube and find lectures and, videos and documentaries and talk shows. Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, this lady was like, "So what do I do when I go there?" Because I was giving her my card, but I'm like, "You're going to have a whole new world." And then I met a couple from Toronto, Canada. They had never heard of the Dan Markel case.
Wow.
I know. It was, I and Leslie B. So, all right. I'm like way behind, but well, this was fun.
It definitely was.
Yeah.
Not as much fun as sitting across the table from you and talking, but it's the next best thing when there are hundreds of miles separating us.
Exactly. I know. Well, hopefully. So I know it's Orlando next year. Thanks, Cheryl. This has been fun. Enjoying the chatter. Yeah, always good chat whenever you're talking about Wendy. So I feel flattered. Okay, well, here's a question by Redondo Beach. Prof Jo, opinion on law schools only in a state versus nationwide.
Well, not sure I understand that. Let me, if you mean a state school or a school that's kind of a national school in terms of maybe reputation or where students come from, such as Florida State versus Harvard.
She said, forgot the word accredited.
Oh, accredited. Well, no, you're always accredited by, you're accredited by the ABA as a law school. You're accredited by the Association of American Law Schools. Then some states like California have unaccredited law schools that you can go to, but that's pretty rare these days.
To be not accredited?
To be not accredited. And I don't think it's a good idea.
The Nashville School of Law, which is just at night for, professionals that go at night. And a lot of great attorneys have gone there. It used to not be accredited, but it is now.
You have a period, there's a period of time that it's provisional. You start with an application and then it'll be provisional. And then finally you get your final approval.
Yeah. But I've thought about seeing if I could take a class there. What's that called is it audit, when you can.
Yeah, it's auditing.
Yeah.
They offer a lot of I shouldn't say a lot, but many law schools these days offer a master's. So it's not a JD and you can focus. So for a JD, there's certain courses you have to take. You have to take contracts, you have to take torts, you have to take property law. They're just, but in those master's programs that you can do a course or two a year, you can focus. We had a legislative aide for one of the U.S. senators who wanted to learn more about the political process and First Amendment issues. So she focused. We had someone else who was a nurse administrator and wanted to know more about, equal employment law and, administrative law. And so those are kind of neat if you can find that. And today I suspect some of them you might be able to do online.
Yeah. I know the online thing though, I just do better. Like I
do too. And I hated teaching online.
Hey, where'd you get your book bag?
Yeah. I hated teaching online.
Yeah.
It's not as good because you can't read. In a class, I can tell, you can get the sense, are people following? Are they not following? If I tell a joke, did they understand it or did they think I meant it? Is somebody in the class not paying attention? Is somebody in the class not following? You can't do any of that online.
Yeah. Little Miss Red Velvet. I take a class here every time. Yeah, Prof Jo's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
We're all YouTube lawyers.
Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome.
It has.
Often. We need to do like a regular monthly.
We should
check-in. Yeah, we'll do that. And
on any topic, we can have our chat suggest a topic.
Yeah, I love it. Well, it was so fun to get to hang with you and CrimeCon. That was just my favorite part. I mean, I would have been fine going to any sessions and just hanging with you.
I would have too. I thought it was just great. Great. And did you tell your chat or when you go? Because I didn't see the entire program you did on Vinnie and on the CrimeCon experience. But did you talk about the FBI detective who's on Surviving the Survivor quite a bit?
Oh no, the one we went to, Scott.
What's his name? Scott
Duffy.
That's right, Scott Duffy.
That was interesting.
It was. And for those of you who have seen Scott Duffy on Surviving the Survivor, let me tell you, when he does one of these presentations, he's nothing like what you see.
He's a different person.
Oh my God, he danced on the stage.
It was like a musical in New York City.
It was just so different.
I was shocked because when he's on STS, he's like this.
Yes.
And when he was on stage, he was like, and he's got music.
And he danced along the stage back and forth. It was just.
For a minute, I thought, is this the same Scott Duffy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it
was
was.
my most memorable for that reason, not because of the content, but simply because it was so different from the person you see on the screen. Now, I will say Leslie in person is the same charming, put
Oh,
together, intelligent, articulate person that you see on the screen.
well, you're sweet. Thank you.
Honest.
And Prof Jo is amazing and fun. And I just was like, I can't believe I'm here with her. I said, get prepared. You're going to be stopped. You're going to feel like a celebrity.
Yeah. Well, I stopped by a few people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say celebrity, but I was stopped. But even one, it's such a wasn't it a shock to you that anybody would recognize you? It was to me. I just couldn't believe it.
Somebody on the last day was like, "Are you Leslie B? Can we take a selfie?" I was like, "Oh my God, yes."
That's right. None of this pretending to be happy to do it. Mine was genuine.
And the first day we were at the pool and somebody came up and was like, "Are you Leslie B?" And my husband goes, "Oh my God." But she didn't recognize me. It was because I had posted the fountain at the pool. And she's like, "I realized I was sitting here."
Oh God.
Dreamscape asks, when you were teaching, what was your favorite course to teach?
You know, that's interesting because there were 2 or 3 that whenever I taught it, it was my favorite. And then I would go on to teach one of the others. But the 2 that I really liked the most were federal courts, which is a version of constitutional law, but it's more cerebral, I would guess. I guess I would say, and less focused on particular rights and more focused on how the system works, state and federal. And the other was criminal procedure. Whenever I did criminal procedure, it was a real blast. I just loved doing criminal procedure.
If you were to be a prosecutor, would you rather be one for the federal government or a state?
State by state, far and away state. Federal prosecutions can take months. A lot of them are very paperwork intensive because they do securities fraud cases, they do antitrust cases, they do tax fraud cases. The state typically is a much shorter prosecution. And the facts can be gruesome, but they're more interesting. But I would say that what I loved prosecuting. I didn't do a lot of cases, but I loved it. What I really loved was working with the investigators and the detectives who were putting together a case and to see how professional they were in trying to get the case done right and how much they cared about the victims, cared about the law, cared about getting the right thing done. And it was really uplifting to work with them. Plus, I loved the investigation. I went out and watched an organized crime dig where they dug up a body. My mother was horrified. And I just, I need to tell that story sometime. It was a great experience.
Hey, you should come down here and go with me. So Joe Scott Morgan said I can come down to Jacksonville State. It's about 3 hours from me, and he's going to give me a whole tour.
Ooh.
I know. He's like, now I can't show you the bodies. I said, that's okay.
Oh God, I want to see bodies too.
I know. I guess it's, but he was so like,
yeah, I only talked to him for a couple of minutes. He said he would come on my show, and I don't know if you'll remember, but I am going to try.
He is so sincere.
Yeah, he was wonderful.
Victoria,
I may take you up on that. You should come up to New York and come see theater with me.
Oh,
I don't have anything as substantive, but I have a lot of fun.
Hey, is Menopause the musical still on up there?
Yes, yes, it's here.
Oh, I want to.
There are some really, really, really great musicals that are in New York right now.
I love that.
And some theater. I'm going to go see Death of a Salesman with an actor up here. I saw it 3 or 4 years ago. It was an all-black cast, and it was really very, very good. And this one's gotten all kinds of raves, so I'm going to go see it again.
Oh, I would love. I'll come up there anytime. I love New York.
Well, just pick a time.
Yeah.
Okay. The theater is. I'll just tell you that the theater is dark on Monday nights, and the matinees are usually Wednesday, a few on Thursday, and then
I'll do whatever. I have lots of PTO, but I'm serious about going. We'll drive down to Alabama, take you to a whole new world. Victoria says, who was your favorite meet? I would say Joseph Scott Morgan, just because we had like such a good conversation. For me, I mean, yeah, Vinny is awesome, but and Brian Enton is as precious as he
Very
is on
sweet,
camera.
isn't he? Very, very sweet.
But I just felt like, I mean, everybody was good. Kathy says, Joe Scott Morgan, my crush, was amazing. I want to go too. I'm so excited about it. Yeah, I told my husband, I was like, I'm gonna get to go to the morgue, and
Yeah, that's right. Well,
he's really hoping this hobby of mine is gone soon.
Well, I'm going to take you up on that.
No, I'm
We'll
serious.
find a time, and we'll have to figure out when it is that he can do it, and then I'll work my schedule around it.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh God, yes, I'm serious.
No, I am too. I mean,
Okay.
I said, I don't know how to ask this, but I don't want to use the word field trip. He's like, you want to come for a visit? I'm like, yes. So I'm excited.
I always find the most disarming way to ask for something is to ask for something.
Yeah.
Not to, just go straight at it. And not to pretend. I used to tell my class all the time, when there's an elephant sitting in the middle of the table, don't ignore the elephant.
Exactly. You don't know till you ask.
That's
so
right.
Rosemary says, okay, Prof Jo, AA Legal Focus.
Oh my God, you think that's right?
Yeah. July 25th, 2025.
Let me put this down. Rosemary, was there anyone else on? Because I did one with someone else at one point, and I don't remember who it was because my memory of names is just terrible. But the one that I did with someone else is not what I'm looking for. So you've got to assure me that this was just me, and then I'll go look for it.
That's amazing.
All right. So you took it off. I was going to take the date.
Yeah. Okay. July 25th, 2025. That's almost been a year ago.
Yeah. It sounded to me like it was
on Judy's channel.
All right. I'm going to look. Well, thank you so much, Rosemary.
Well, thank you all so much. And we appreciate if y'all will be sure and like the video. If you can hype it, subscribe to us.
Right.
We are
use hearts, because somebody told me that the hearts also affect the algorithm. And let me tell everybody, if you hit like, it's such a easy thing to do that I don't think you even use up a calorie doing it.
Oh, see, there you go. Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, I appreciate you and thank you. It was fun. And so we're going to get a trip so that you can come to Alabama and I can go to New York.
When I was in Oregon teaching, I did a field trip to the post office who was the woman who tried to kill her 3 kids, drown them in the car because she had this lover who didn't want kids, and she thought if she didn't have the kids, he would want her. What was her name? It was a famous case. And I had a couple of friends visit, and we did a field trip to see the post office where she worked.
Not Susan Smith, because she drowned 2 boys in the pond in South Carolina.
Diane Downs. It was Diane Downs.
Diane Downs. Okay.
Yeah. See, everybody in the chat, you ask a question to the chat and they know the answer every time.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get our calendars out. I can't wait.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all for riding with me till the truth brings victory. I'm Leslie B, justice seeker, story keeper, and we're still watching, waiting for justice.